The Group of Four, G4, countries comprising India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan, is a group formed in 2005 to advocate for reforms in the United Nations Security Council, UNSC. The grouping supports expansion of the UNSC and seeks permanent membership for its members to make global governance more representative and effective. Group of Four, G4, countries background. The present structure of the United Nations Security Council, UNSC, reflects the geopolitical realities of the post-World War II era. It consists of 5 permanent members, P5, United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, with veto power, and 10 non-permanent members elected for 2-year terms. While this structure was designed to ensure stability and avoid failures like the League of Nations, it has increasingly been criticized as outdated. Over the decades, global power dynamics have shifted significantly, with emerging economies and developing countries playing a larger role in international affairs. However, regions such as Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia still lack adequate representation in permanent membership. This imbalance has led to growing demands for reform. In this context, the G4 nations came together in 2005 to collectively push for a more inclusive and representative UNSC. About Group of Four, G4, countries. The Group of Four, G4, is a group of major emerging and developed countries that have come together to push for reforms in the United Nations Security Council and seek permanent membership. Formation: the G4 was formed in 2005 to promote UNSC reforms. Members: India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan. Nature: it is an informal diplomatic coalition based on mutual support. Core principle: each member supports the other's bid for permanent membership. Engagement: G4 leaders and foreign ministers regularly meet, often on the sidelines of UN General Assembly sessions. Group of Four, G4, countries' objectives. The Group of Four, G4, countries aim to reform the United Nations Security Council to make it more inclusive, representative, and effective in addressing global challenges. The primary objective is to secure permanent seats in the UNSC for all 4 member countries. It seeks to make the UNSC more representative of current global political and economic realities. It supports expansion in both permanent and non-permanent categories. It advocates for greater representation of developing regions, particularly Africa. It calls for text-based negotiations within the UN framework to achieve concrete reforms. Rationale behind Group of Four, G4, demand. The G4 countries are among the largest economies and have significant global influence. They contribute substantially to the UN system, including peacekeeping operations and financial resources. They represent diverse regions and large populations, improving geographical balance. The current UNSC structure does not reflect contemporary geopolitical realities. Their inclusion is expected to enhance the legitimacy, accountability, and effectiveness of the UNSC. Need for UNSC reforms. The need for UNSC reform arises from the changing global order and the growing demand for a more inclusive and representative international decision-making system. The UNSC still reflects the power structure of 1945, which does not match present-day geopolitical realities. Only 5 permanent members hold veto power, which limits wider participation and fairness in decision-making. Entire regions such as Africa and Latin America do not have permanent representation in the Council. Emerging global challenges like terrorism, climate change, and cybersecurity require broader and more inclusive cooperation. Reform is essential to maintain the credibility, legitimacy, and effectiveness of the United Nations system. Opposition to Group of Four, G4, countries grouping. The proposal of the G4 countries to become permanent members of the United Nations Security Council faces strong opposition due to political differences and competing national interests. The main opposition comes from the Uniting for Consensus, UFC, group, also known as the Coffee Club, which opposes any increase in permanent membership. Countries such as Italy, Pakistan, Mexico, and Argentina argue that adding more permanent members will make the council less efficient. These countries instead support expanding only non-permanent seats, which they believe would ensure more rotation and wider representation. Regional rivalries also influence opposition, as some countries are unwilling to support the permanent membership of their regional competitors. In addition, some existing permanent members are cautious about reforms because expanding the council may reduce their influence and weaken the impact of their veto power.